Hello, my name is Lewis or Lickety from Kakuchopurei, and welcome back to Push to Talk, the weekly video series where we talk about pretty much anything video games. I apologize for the extremely low quality and jank setup. This is only temporary just for this week. And this week, I want to revisit an episode that I did a couple weeks ago, which was talking about Skull and Bones. Obviously, that video was a long-winded playtest impressions video, but with the game being officially out and all, and me giving it a score of 5 out of 10 in my final review, I thought, hey, why don't we have an episode talking about what exactly can be done to save Skull and Bones. Now, if you want to get my full thoughts on the game, then you can check out the review, which is down in the description below. But all in all, it was just a lackluster game that has potential, but just didn't live up to the expectations that were set for it. Provided that the game has had 8 years to develop, we just kind of expected things to be a little bit more polished. And as some of you guys may know, Ubisoft does have a roadmap for at least the first year of Skull and Bones. While yes, a roadmap is pretty much a given in this day and age, it does show that Ubisoft does have somewhat of a plan at least. Like, yes, it's the perfect opportunity to implement gameplay features that could possibly fix the game and make it a lot more appealing to the general audience. Do I think that the next couple of seasons of updates will be enough to really save Skull and Bones? Not really. Now, yes, there's a roadmap, that's a start, obviously. There's obviously marketing things that they could also do. They could just put a shit ton of money into marketing the game and just getting content creators and streamers to just play the game on stream. Say Offline TV or The Sidemen or OTK, just a big group of content creators that just are able to make any game seem fun. While I do think it is a little bit disingenuous, they could realistically do that. Whether it would work or not is kind of up for debate, because I do think that Skull and Bones circumstantially can be fun, but just because you get a bunch of really funny content creators to play a shitty game and make it look fun doesn't mean that the game is actually good. While that could help in sales, it doesn't change the fact that the game is still pretty disappointing. So I have a list of talking points on here that I just want to just verbally vomit and just get your thoughts on and see if I'm somewhat in the right direction, if you guys agree or not, and just hopefully just put it up in the air whether or not Skull and Bones can be saved and if my suggestions are viable things at all. So yeah, without further ado, let's just jump into my talking points, right? So the first talking point is kind of embracing the essence of piracy. Essentially what that means is to kind of restore the sense of freedom and adventure that is quintessential to the pirate experience. While Skull and Bones is an open world game, you do feel restricted to what you can do. I think one of the biggest complaints was the lack of an actual close quarters combat feature. Yes, maybe people shouldn't have been expecting Assassin's Creed 4 with this game, but that's the standard that they set for themselves when they made the naval combat in Assassin's Creed 3 and 4. Furthermore, I feel like they need to implement more gameplay features that allow players more agency in charting their own course and shaping their own destinies. That may include removing some restrictive progression systems and invisible barriers that inhibit exploration and spontaneity. Another thing is that I feel that there's room to revitalize the game mechanics. Now, I'm not a game dev myself, but there's just this feeling that when I play the game, that there's so much more that I could be doing. I feel like Ubisoft should enhance the depth and strategy of the gameplay mechanics, particularly with the naval combat. They can do this by introducing more nuanced mechanics that reward skillful navigation and tactical decision making, which I feel would address issues with combat depth, such as making encounters a lot more skill-based and less reliant on gear levels. Another thing that I think they should do is expand content variety. While there is a plethora of mission types, it just gets extremely repetitive really fast. There's no uniqueness to them. They should diversify mission types and objectives to mitigate the feeling of repetitiveness, you know? Introduce more dynamic and engaging quests that offer genuine challenges and opportunities for discovery, as well as building on the actual story. And say they did introduce land-based combat like everyone wants, then that opens up a massive world of other missions that they could do. You could go to a deserted island where there's, you know, say a temple, and then you can start exploring it, and then it becomes like an Indiana Jones type game. There's so much room and potential for what they could be. But yeah, introducing close quarters combat and sword fighting enriches the overall gameplay experience and captures the full spectrum of pirate adventures. Another thing that they need to work on is enhancing the multiplayer integration. I feel like they need to reimagine multiplayer features to foster more meaningful interactions and experiences. Right now, if you pass by a ship and you interact with them, the options are literally just a friends list menu. On top of that, they should develop co-op and PvP elements that feel integral to the game's core experience rather than tacked on. With this reimagining of multiplayer features, it should also address balance issues and strive to create a sense of camaraderie and competition among players. Something as much as just a PvP zone, like a specific area on the map where you go just to fight other ships. You know, you don't lose loot, but you gain infamy for it. You gain points to climb up on that ranked leaderboard that I mentioned in the first video, and let there be a hub for that. Another thing that I feel like they kind of missed out on, and it was almost a golden opportunity, and personally for me, it's kind of a push off, was the lack of investment in narrative depth. While it's loosely based on real places in our world, in a very real point in history, there was so much room to create a world of its own. By introducing world-building elements and side stories and whatnot, it could elevate the storytelling to create a more immersive and compelling narrative experience. On the topic of side stories, they could have developed characters, plotlines, and quests that resonate with players and add depth to the game's world. With that, they could have explored themes of piracy, betrayal, and adventure to captivate players' imaginations. I feel like from a gameplay aspect, by focusing on these areas, Skull and Bones could undergo a revitalization that restores player confidence and transforms it into a beloved and enduring pirate adventure. With dedication, innovation, and commitment, Ubisoft Singapore can steer Skull and Bones towards a much brighter future on the high seas. Now, I'm a firm believer that Ubisoft Singapore was extremely passionate about this title. I know it doesn't show, and that does make it a lot harder to believe, but having spoken to some of the people that actually worked on the game, they did believe in this game. They wanted this game to be a success. I don't mean to make excuses for Ubisoft Singapore, I just don't want to discredit the people that genuinely did work hard on this game. So I do want to just give credit where credit is due. Still doesn't change the fact that I'm extremely disappointed with the game, you know, I am critiquing it after all. But yeah, I think that those are possible improvements that could genuinely just make the game just a lot more appealing to players. And who knows, say they implement these features and then they go on with the marketing strategy of just paying a bunch of content creators to play this game. Who knows, maybe the general consensus of the game will actually be different. I wanted to avoid bringing this up, but hey, look at Sea of Thieves. It didn't have the best start, but look at it now, right? But yeah, that's about it for this episode. I'm sorry that I rambled a bit, but you know, I feel like I spoke about some decent ideas that could be implemented that could improve the gameplay experience as a whole. But I really want to know your guys' thoughts on my ideas, and if you guys have any ideas as well. And yeah, let me know down in the comment section below if you do enjoy this type of content, and be sure to like, subscribe if you want to see more content just like this, and obviously ding dong that notification bell to be notified when we upload next, because we upload videos every single week. Thank you guys ever so much for tuning in to this week's episode of Push the Talk. My name's Lewis Olikty from Kakuchopurei, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Ciao for now.